This story is from Davin's perspective. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you? Kind of like someone is hiding in a dark corner just waiting to catch you alone? I've felt like that ever since I was a little kid. It's just that I never felt like I could just sit down and relax. Like someone was staring at me through a wall. I know it sounds silly, but it's how I've always felt, but recently I think I'm starting to put the pieces together. Flashback to 2020, I drove across state to visit my girlfriend Liv. I was really excited because I never got to meet her in person, we only knew each other from the internet. But still I couldn't wait to see her. After a long 2-day drive to her state, I finally arrived at the Pete's we agreed to meet at. We couldn't be more happy to see each other. We just sat and talked for hours on end. She invited her friends to the coffee shop we were at and I even got to meet her parents. I think they liked me. After a long day of talking, sightseeing, and eating at the local restaurants, I had to say goodbye for the day and head to the motel I reserved. I was a little sad, but I could tell this would be a fun week. But something felt kind of off with her parents. They seemed a little too nice, like eerily nice. Like they were putting on a mask when talking to me. Honestly, I just assumed they were just being nice because it was their first impression of me. But still. Well, this is where things started to get weird. As I got into my car and put in the keys to turn it on, a man approached me. I thought he was a homeless person begging for money, so I grabbed $1, rolled down my windows and said I don't have a lot but I hope it helps. Hoping he would leave me alone. But he didn't. He wouldn't take it, he just said with an eerie smirk on his face, "Don't worry Davine, I don't need your money." I didn't know what to say. How did he know my name? I threw the dollar out of the window, locked the doors, rolled up the window and I reversed as fast as I could, turned my car to the direction of the road and floored it. Good thing it was an empty road or I would have probably hit someone. I drove for only about 5 minutes but it felt like an eternity. I didn't know what to think. Who was that guy? And how did he know my name? Was he just listening to our conversation? I never saw him there. This just felt odd, like how I was talking about feeling that I wasn't alone. It felt kind of like that, but it just wasn't even a scary feeling. It just felt unnatural. I don't know how to explain it. Well, I finally arrived at the motel I reserved. I parked my car in the parking lot, and checked in. Which surprisingly didn't take that long. I walked up the stair to my room, unlocked the door, and just lay down. I didn't really pack that much aside from my Switch and laptop, so threw my bag of stuff on the floor and laid right down. I felt exhausted, partly because of that creepy guy but also because I had done a lot that day, so I just went to sleep. All I could think about is that guy, that creepy little smirk on his face and his almost fake-looking face, like I was staring at a mannequin. It's hard to explain. After a few minutes of laying down, I got a knock on the door that sent shivers down my spine. This situation was unbelievable. Anyways, the knocking continued for about 5 minutes and I could tell it wasn't going to stop anytime soon. So I decided to get up quietly and look through the peephole on my door. I got up, tiptoed to the door, and when I looked through the peephole, oh, it's Liv. I quickly opened the door and she came rushing in. She seemed in shock. I told her to take a seat and I asked her what's wrong. She couldn't even respond to what I was saying. I gave her a hug and told her it's okay. But still she seemed frightened out of her mind. After a few minutes of just sitting with her, I grabbed her a snack from my bag. She ate it and she seemed to calm down. but she still seemed paralyzed. There was this look in her face like she was something that just didn't make sense, like she saw something out of this world. Then when things started to calm down, there was a knock at the door. I was completely frozen. I didn't know what to do. But she just looked at me petrified, and ran to the bathroom. I locked the door to my motel and I walked into the bathroom to see what's going on. As I walked in, she grabbed my arm, pulled me in and locked the door. She finally could talk, and she said to me, "I'm sorry. I thought this was over. Davine, there's nothing we can do." I was confused, but before I even got the chance to ask her about what in hell she's talking about, I heard the door to my motel slowly open. All I could do was think to call 911 immediately, but my phone almost dead. I heard the footsteps get closer and closer to the bathroom area. I was scared out of my mind. And finally I felt the bathroom door lock being meddled with and unlocked. There was silence for about 30 seconds. Obviously the lights in the bathroom were off, but for some reason, I decided to use what's left on my phone battery to quickly pull on the Memos app and record this. I can't explain what happened next. The door slowly opened, and I could only barely make out this figure, this small figure. It reached for the lights, and as it was about to turn it on, I fainted. But then I woke up. This wasn't real. I hadn't left for the trip. It was just a bad dream. I got up, called Liv to make sure she was okay. I talked to her for a bit, and then I made myself some breakfast. I decided to grab a coffee from Pete's, the vastly superior coffee shop chain, for a drink. I was so relieved. This wasn't real. It felt so real. But it wasn't. I arrived at Pete's, but I had to pee, so I headed for the bathroom. As I was in there, I pulled up my phone to browse memes. But I got a notification for an email, and it said "just for you." It contained an MP4 file in it. I turned up the volume a tiny bit, and as it loaded up, I remembered this thing from my dream, this creature, this 2-inch man. His laugh. Before I fainted in my dream, I saw him. I decided to play the video. This is what it contained.
Hello, old chum. I'm not a gnolf. I'm not a gnoblin. I'm a gnome, and you've been... No!